Welcome to the Yellow Couch. Today is a super exciting day. Our guest is someone who was the first time I've met them, but it's someone who has a huge positive influence in the labor market today in Tanzania. We have with us none other than the CEO, that is Chief Enablement Officer of Standard Chartered, Mr. Sanjay Rughani. Welcome to the couch.
Thanks, Joshua.
Welcome. How are things? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great, and it's a privilege to be here.
Yeah.
Surely nice. I'm told that you are not the usual guy who sits with the leaders who come here.
Yep.
So I think I am lucky today.
Yeah, definitely. I'm also first time on the couch, but today is about you. And we'd really love to get to know more about who you are, where you've come from. So maybe you can just share a little bit about your history and your journey in your career so far and how you've got to where you are today.
Wow. It's very interesting. I recently completed a leadership coach certification. So now I can coach executives. And I was asked this question, so who are you? I think I have many titles, as you know. But what I feel personally is I'm a very privileged individual who has been nurtured with ambitions, experiences, and by many people. Very driven by purpose. When I say very driven by purpose, it's about caring, sharing, and transforming. That's my madness mantra, as I call it. I'm a person who has a lot of faith. Faith in Almighty, faith in people, but also faith in nature. All these evolve and impact us, really. I guess, I was very lucky that I had parents who brought me up with great values. My experiences have shaped me. My organization also adds the values concept into it. Service is very key to me. I believe in transforming youth, as you talked about it. So that's a very big part of me. But finally, I'm a very fun-loving individual, and I see leadership as a passion. The ability to enable somebody's life, and you say Chief Enabling Officer, is a very unique proposition, and I think with a lot of humility, I say I'm excited that I'm in that role. There could be anyone else, but this is me. So this is Sanjay for you. Also from a family perspective, I have a beautiful wife and 2 kids.
Yep.
Both my kids are studying abroad now. They just one is just started university, one's been there for a few years. From a bank perspective, been with the bank for 22 years now.
Wow.
In different roles, 7 different markets. So many things, and we could take a half a day, but I guess that's the right perspective. Externally, again, I'm the chairman of CEO Roundtable, which is a phenomenal organization. I'm the deputy chair of the Bankers Association. Very privileged to be on the TNBC now, a director at ATE. But I'm also the global chairman of the International Federation of Accountants for professional accountants in business. So plenty to say, but I think the simple thing is I'm Sanjay.
Yeah, plenty to say, plenty to do. But actually there's something not a lot of people know about you. You had mentioned you were born in Mbeya.
That's correct.
And your father was a banker as well. How much has that played a role in bringing you to where you are today still as a banker? Is that come from that side of things? So
it's very interesting. I went to study abroad and I was working. And my dad passed away. And, just typically started talking to my mother. And, she was very keen that, she did not miss to stay away from me. So she said, it'd be nice that you come back and let's stay together. And I said, but you guys are in business and I want to really have a professional career. She said, well, choose your life. So I came back to Tanzania 23 years ago. Worked for an organization where I thought I was not being challenged enough. So I looked for an opportunity to move out, and you say talent. So I quickly got 3 different roles. One of the role was a banker's role. So I think the default in my mind was that, my dad was a banker. And if I had to talk to him and ask him, what should I choose? He would quickly say a bank, because I know what it meant to him as an individual. And then it was the right fit also. So kind of my dad played into it in some context, but I have no regrets. It's been a phenomenal journey.
Nice. I wanted to start off with a small quote here. So they say leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. This is a quote from John Maxwell, who writes a lot of leadership books.
That's right.
How does this resonate with you, and what is your definition of being influential or positively influential?
That's a very nice quote, by the way. I personally believe in it absolutely. You know, those days of command and control are completely outdated.
Yep.
You know, you shortly influence somebody, but you know, if you really want to achieve sustainable influence and purposeful influence, then it's absolutely right to, you know, it's you know, leadership is about influence. When you think about influence, what does it really mean? It means, you know, that and anybody could influence anybody. So leadership is at different levels. I know at certain times my kids are the leaders in the equation. But from my context, what it means is, you know, if I have the ability to shape somebody's thinking, somebody's actions, somebody's growth, somebody's development, somebody's context, then really I'm influencing. And that's what I do day in, day out. You ask me what's my mantra or what's my, you know, philosophy about, you know, influential leadership. I see it this way, that if I'm able to take people to a destination that they don't know, or a destination that they know, but when they reach there and they thank me for being part of the equation, then that's influential leadership. And I think that's what I absolutely believe in. You know, is taking people to either the destinations they want to go, or destinations that they've never thought of.
Yep.
And influential leadership needs to also be felt. You know, ultimately it's about feelings. Yeah, so that's how I look at it.
Nice. And there's a word I picked out there that came up a couple of times. You said the word purpose. You said it earlier in your intro and now. So maybe you can talk to us a little bit. A lot of people work and struggle to find their purpose, even throughout their entire career. It seems you've managed to find a purpose. Maybe you can give us some tips on how to get there.
I mean, there's lots of learning on this, you know, and I think Simon Sinek puts it best. You know, you have to find your why. Why do you exist in this world? You know, what's your purpose? Ultimately, what do you want to be recognized for? What drives you? What motivates you? You know, there are many questions I asked very early on in my life. That what will make me wake up every day?
Yeah.
What will make me so excited? And for me, you know, it started from just two words. That you know, I'm blessed to have the capacity or capability or the ability to influence lives. And my two-word strategy really, or personal motive, is, you know, enabling lives. Again, this comes from the Chief Enabling Officer.
Yes.
So in every equation that I am in, my constant measure is, am I enabling somebody? And the more you enable somebody else, it's all about prosperity. It's about growth, it's about development, it's about progress. The more somebody makes progress, the more you make progress. So whether my actions impact society through service, or impact my organization through the strategy that I establish, the ability to, the empowerment I give my staff and my leaders, or through the different associations I am part of, who all have a strategy, who all have a position on what they want to achieve. Yeah. So purpose is really, for me, purpose is really, it's two words. It's about enabling lives.
Okay, I like this. We're starting to unpick this now, because when we're talking about influence, you're starting to talk about how enabling others and helping them grow and helping them to become more influential actually allows you to be more positively influential, the enabling part of what you're saying. So there are some people out there who, they might not be an MD or might not have that position or title, role title behind them. Do you think if you were not the MD of Standard Chartered, you could still have the same positive influence on the community?
Very interesting. So I think that, you know, the way we've all grown up with, you know, whether it's, we call it cultural context in general, a position does help you to influence. You know, like, the new president was appointed, she's influencing us, is it not? And amazingly influencing us. When I was appointed as a CEO, very quickly I had the ability to set up strategy, working with my top team, and really influence. When I became the chairman of CEO Roundtable, I was able to influence the direction, that the strategy will take charge. But in a short time or a short term, your position is very useful sometimes to influence, and that's because that's how society looks at it. But in a long term, it's not really your position. It's really your purpose in life that we talked about.
Yep.
It's really your attitude. It's really your ability to be consistent.
Yep.
And be constructive, which is important. It's really about taking decisions.
Okay.
It's really about enabling others to see, what's in it for them, which is very important. But it's also about role modeling. Many people talk but do not walk the talk. And for me, it's about really walking the talk.
Yeah.
It's about a promise that I give to the people who are in my life, and many who are not in my life, because that's a purpose-driven model, that I'm in the game.
Yeah.
And you can seek out for me anytime. And sometimes you don't need to seek out for me, but I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
It's about the respect you create. So in a long term, really, it's much more about what you do, your behaviors, your attitude, which really allows you to, influence, is what I would say.
Yeah. Okay. So for someone who might not be at a senior role, you can still have a positive influence by the way you interact and how you care about others.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the things that I have is, so in my role currently, I have a model called reverse mentoring.
Okay.
Traditionally, leaders mentor others.
Yes.
I have this group of 6 to 8, I call them kids, because they are constantly disrupting me. So I meet them once in a quarter.
Yep.
And all they do is sit there and talk to me about my leadership,
okay,
and my what they have seen different about me and things that I'm not paying attention.
Nice.
So I'm also being influenced.
Yeah.
But with them caring about me, which is very important.
Nice. So is this a group of people within the organization?
Within Standard Chartered Bank.
Okay. So
yes.
it's team members from across the bank. And they're
some
giving
of them
you feedback.
Millennials.
Yeah.
So it's very exciting.
So you've got to be open to feedback to allow that. I mean.
Absolutely. You got to listen,
yeah,
which is very important. The more you listen, the more you can influence.
Yeah.
Because you get to know somebody's context, somebody's purpose, what their intentions are, what their ambitions are. So absolutely.
Yeah. And there's another side, I think, to being positively influential. This means a lot of people may know you, and actually you might now begin to hear certain opinions from other people.
Correct.
What's the funniest thing you've heard about yourself, or rumor you've heard about yourself?
Funniest rumor I've heard about myself. No, I think in life, when you start something new, and in the context of where we live, is this a long-term player or a short-term player? There's always about the fly-by-night operator.
Yep.
Are you one of those fly-by-night operators? And I was like, hello, what are you talking about? So I think those things come into the equation.
Yeah.
You will know this, Joshua, even at your level, success comes with its own doubts, with its own challenges, with its own difference in thoughts.
Absolutely.
Frankly, it doesn't bother me.
No?
So I've heard a lot of funny remarks once in a while.
Yeah.
But that's fine. It gives me more motivation that people are recognizing me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for anyone who's maybe taking other people's opinions too much into account, your advice would be just take it positively and push it forward.
Yeah.
Make it push you forward.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And remember, by the time I'm taking actions, there's a lot of thinking that goes through.
Yeah.
It goes through a lot of soundboarding. Imagine if I can even have reverse mentors talking to me.
Yeah, exactly.
The amount of work I've put to just make sure that the purpose, the strategy, the context, and whatever we want to drive has gone through quite a bit of thinking and also feedback into it. So yeah, go with your belief. And sometimes what you do can be radical, can be very different. But I think this world is of change. That's the only constant.
Yep.
So if you have the ability to change with new thinking, believe in yourself is what I would say.
Nice. So, to flip the tables on you a little bit, we've talked about how you influence others, but there must be someone influencing you. Who does Sanjay get mentored by?
Wow. I did say that this group of reverse mentors in my office, I find it incredibly useful to get feedback, and I thank them dearly. But I think the person that comes to mind when you talk about influence was my mother.
Yeah.
Because she taught me caring, sharing, love, being considerate. My mom is from India, my dad is from here, so there was this whole dynamics around cultural context, and I know how much effort she put into me just to understand that it can be many different cultures.
Yeah.
But it's not the culture that creates the identity, it is the person that creates the identity.
Yes.
So I learned quite a bit of that, and a lot of experiential sharing, through my mom. She was very deliberate.
Okay.
And one other thing that, I network a lot.
Yeah.
And I think my mom really influenced me on how to network. At that time, she had a model to the madness, and it gave me a lot of gratitude. I was very I had a lot of gratitude to appreciate how to really connect with people. So probably my most important role model, a lot of people in my life influenced me, I must tell you.
Yeah.
I've got peer CEOs I learn with constantly.
Okay.
I've got my own CEOs, who I report to.
Yeah.
Every leader has got some value. And my common, appreciation of life is every person has got value.
Yeah.
So constantly, even my driver influences me.
Yeah.
But I think the other one is my wife, and you all know her. She's a pretty significant leader in this market. Men and women think differently. So she helps me with the emotional context sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I would empathize as much as now I do.
Yeah.
Just because, sometimes she shares feedback with me, which is important. And just the ability to have a partner who you can bounce things off is a big blessing. So but for that I have to be willing to take feedback.
Yeah.
And that's how I get influenced.
Okay. Thank you. So quite a few key people in your lives. You've got
correct.
Professional, personal, people at home. It's a nice blend, and I guess that gives you a 360 view of how to.
And remember, my kids influence me.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes they influence you because they have the ability to torture you, or get the most out of you.
Yeah.
And that itself is influence that I love, that they have over me.
Nice. So a final question: how or what would you say are the two key characteristics of someone who is to become positively influential? What are the two most important? We've touched a lot, but just to leave people with that final thought.
Two is very short, but when you say characteristics, I think there's quite a few things that I would quickly like to touch. When you are influencing somebody, if it's a leader, it's a person, it's very different when it's a group of people and it's individual. So always have the context in your mind on what is important to him or them, or him, her, or them.
Okay.
Which is very important. You've got to get into their minds and start understanding what is important to them.
Yeah.
The more you can figure out the why of the person you're trying to influence, the better you are at, number one.
Okay.
Number two is, like I said, it's really about walking the talk.
Yeah.
Which is very, very important. Number three is about, involving people. When you involve people, then clearly they get more influenced because they understand the context, they understand the plans, they understand the journey. And remember, you have co-created. So if you co-create, people get more, influenced. There is the one thing that I must say that I really appreciate about your sister Miranda is that she is one of the best leaders, who helps us to understand this whole context of, leadership context of social proof. She openly celebrates things in life, openly celebrates people in life, openly celebrates occasions, events. So, creating that social proof of recognizing, individuals, is a huge way of influencing them, as you can understand. Then it's about transparency and ethics.
Okay.
Making sure that you always uphold ethics at the highest level. At our level, we are constantly being influenced with information.
Yep.
So making sure that you are stubbornly consistent about ethics and good governance is very, very critical. And then finally, it's about looking at things that you do from a long-term context. You know, something in a short term can look very exciting, you know, quickly.
Yep.
But start measuring it from a long term. So your influence should always be the ability to tell somebody about, you know, what this journey will mean to them in a long-term context. So
Yep.
I think those are some of the characteristics that, you know, I am very privileged to be aware of.
Yeah, I love that, playing the long game, because playing the long game means you've got to be genuine, you've got to walk the talk, as you've mentioned, and you've got to actually care. Whereas on the short game, you might not necessarily be as genuine.
True. You know, one of the leaders I was talking to, and you know, this is also for many leaders.
Yeah.
They say sometimes if you want to influence somebody, you play the game of scarcity. You know, when you play the game of scarcity, for example, there are 5 people and somebody feels that you're not giving them a lot of attention, and suddenly you give them attention, they're going to be influenced. So scarcity also plays to the advantage.
Yeah.
But do it with ethics and purpose is what I say.
Yeah. Thank you, Sanjay. We've got a next section, which is the trivia section to the show.
Oh.
So we haven't shared these questions with you at all. We want you to just answer the first thing that comes to mind. So feel free. We want to get to know you. We've got 3 levels of questions here. They get deeper and deeper and deeper. So get ready. So first question. As a child, what was your favorite game?
My favorite game, football.
Football. Okay. What position did you play?
So I was pretty heavy in life because I had asthma. I liked football for 2 reasons. One is it used to teach me tactics. The position I would like is goalkeeper, because then I could spend a lot of time in the goal.
Okay. Do you have a team you support?
From a global team, 2 teams.
Yeah.
You know, Liverpool, which we also sponsor.
Yes.
And Barcelona Football Club.
Okay.
Absolutely mad about both of them.
Yeah. Nice. Your favorite movie of all time?
My favorite movie of all time is, you know, it's actually an Indian movie called 3 Idiots.
Okay.
It's a phenomenal movie which is all about friendships.
Yeah.
It's about, you know, believing in the odds and getting to there. And it's a lot much more about self-belief also.
Okay.
So it's very transformative.
Nice. And I was going to ask next, what makes you laugh? But with the title of that movie, looks like
3 Idiots.
3 Idiots could be.
No, many things make me laugh, of course. You know, and sometimes it's just memories, you know, that come to mind from childhood days, from events, activities. But I must say I'm very blessed because I have a team that's full of joy.
Yeah.
So you're constantly laughing. If you don't laugh, if you don't have fun, what's the fun, yeah?
Fair enough. What's the hardest thing about being a CEO?
What's the hardest thing about being a CEO? You know, it's a privilege. At the same time, it's a lot much more responsibility. You know, your one action can really create a lot of, like I say, tsunami. So it's you constantly on the watch on, if you're not, it's about taking decisions, you know, so, and you have to take quick decisions. So sometimes you may fail.
Yeah.
And I must say that I'm one of those guys who believes, you know, once in a while you do fail, but you know, sometimes my impact can be much bigger, is what I'm saying. So that's the hardest thing.
Okay. What would you like your legacy to be?
Many things. Like I said, my personal, you know, purpose is about enabling lives. I'm very clear about many things I want to do. And I must say that, Joshua, you do realize that one of my legacies is the CEO apprenticeship program that you have personally also joined.
Yep.
You know, I was very privileged to be the first Tanzanian to be the CEO of Standard Chartered Bank after the bank being in Tanzania for 94 years.
Wow.
It really shocked me and it excited me.
Yeah.
So, you know, having put in a lot of effort through CEO Roundtable, creating the CEO apprenticeship program, I think it's a big benefit. The other one for me is, you know, our bank last year was able to fund the standard gauge railway.
Yep.
You know, this is, you know, largely phase 2, but a bit of phase 1, and I hope we can do much more.
Wow.
That is going to impact 17.5 million Tanzanian lives.
Yep.
You know, how lucky I am to be the CEO to put in that investment in my country, where for years I'll be looking at it and saying, wow, I was part of this.
Yeah,
and
that's
I
amazing.
think the third thing is that if I look back, I'm very blessed to have, created ambitious leaders, leaders who have got a huge part in this society. So names that come to mind, one of the leaders who I worked with and has been very dynamic, and I was privileged to be the CEO, was Ruth Zaipuna in NMB, Theobald Sabi in NBC. And I'm very lucky that I have been instrumental in one way or the other to support these leaders to become who they are, with the little I must have done. So I think leadership legacy is about really creating individuals or initiatives that can leave a legacy beyond myself, is what I'm saying.
Wow, thanks Sanjay. So much to take from that, and we really appreciate you giving back and coming to share your journey and your take on being positively influential. I leave it to you for your final word of the Yellow Couch Chat today. Yeah, I think my final, first of all, thank you. It's been a joy to talk to you. Your questions are very, very good. I think the simple truth is, that if everybody believes in enabling somebody else, this world is going to become a much more beautiful place. So that's one. And then for Tanzanians, this is more relevant. That, as Mama Samia says, Kazi endelee. We also need to endelea. So every day think about the possibilities rather than impossibilities. Because even the word impossible is I am possible, is my message. Thank you. Thank you guys. There you have it. Move with purpose.